Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to the TFT Perspective. Viewers, 4 days ago, news came from Lebanon which took the entire world by storm, and it was about the pager bombs that exploded all throughout Lebanon, in which primarily Israel was involved. What happened there? What was the background concerning this? We are going to discuss all of that. But there was a big question that came which is not being answered properly when it comes to international media and its space as well. It's the globalization of technology and how these pager bombs are going to affect the upcoming transfer of technology, and whether we can trust our smartphones, our smart TVs, our laptops. Frankly, people are getting scared and fed up of this entire situation. We're going to discuss this. We have with us Mr. Wakar K. Korvi. Sir, momentarily Israel seems to have gained small type of benefit out of the situation concerning the pager bomb incident, but long term, a lot of articles have been written coming from Al Jazeera, the Times of Japan, as well as from TRT as well. The perspective is that the globalized supply chain, the global supply chain is seriously getting affected, especially when it comes to Western based technology. And some have actually perceived out of this information that Israel might have shot itself in the head.
I think there is a lot of analysis required for this, and we did put it on TFT perspective, on the X, because there was a tweet by TRT regarding Netanyahu. I think this was about 4 or 5 years back video, which was tweeted, I think, a few days back, in which he highlighted that the time has come that we can. The technology is so advanced, and there is a capability that they could, with one push of a button, bring nations and states to their knees. So this was, I think, maybe taken very lightly. Now we look at this incidents or this operation, this military operation. Mainly, we have seen that there was already weaponization of information, weaponization of software taking place. If you look at color revolutions in Ukraine, we've seen the Maidan. Then you have Arab Spring before that. And very recently, even Bangladesh, despite that this was an indigenous movement, but ultimately the revolution came through social engineering, or I would say a weaponization of the information. And we have seen it in Pakistan also on 9th May, that how people were hurled onto military installations. We have seen Trumpsters being hurled onto the Capitol Hill. So this was there, and this was taken that, okay, since software is being weaponized, probably there's very less harm. People are not really getting killed. So one can go with it. And the nations, developed nation think probably they can do it, but now we've seen it happening in North. The weaponization of the mobile technology hardware, I think this is the first time that we are seeing it at mass scale. Now, if you go back to Iranian's nuclear program, Israeli did display, capability to launch, basically operations through Stuxnet and botnets, and it actually created, I think, disruption of their nuclear program. There were blasts also. Then we have seen assassination of Ismail Haniya in Tehran, in the capital, and it is being reported through various channels that it was again Mossad doing it. Probably there was an insider, but definitely, again, it was related to a mobile.
I've also heard that the Iranian president also used to use pagers.
Yeah, so it means that slain Iranian president Ibrahim Raisi, who got martyred in a mysterious plane crash, helicopter crash, could have been triggered through mobile technology. So it raises a very big question, because now it's weaponization of the civilians' hardware as weapons. We've seen drones homing on to, let's say, mobile phones. Maybe that can be, given some space. We've seen it happening in Lebanon. That's why I think Hezbollah had said, Hassan Nasrallah, to his Hezbollah leaders and soldiers, that don't use mobile phones, because most probably they were being tracked, and then they were attacked by either Israeli Air Force, standoff weapon systems, or drones. And we have seen it happening in, I think, Russia also. There was probably Wagner group was also targeted, and they have been targeting the Ukrainian. But weaponization of hardware, civilian hardware at that scale, raises very big question. What we did was that we did put something on Twitter under the TRT uh, post. One, that although Israel has gained, I would say, a great victory, but a short term victory. But it has probably shot, as you said, herself in the foot, because Israel is one of the main producers of high technology, whether the weapon systems or drones, like India buys a lot of drones. And they have to now see that whether the Hermes and Happy's drones are, not really hacked by the Israelis. Then they have software technology like Pegasus software,
And biotechnology as well.
biotechnology. They are into shipping and even businesses. How can you trust, let's say, Israelis, or I would say anybody who's connected to Israelis, who's in the banking sector, who's in the construction sector, who are into tourism. And there are a lot of business that Israel will have a huge services sector, even agriculture technology. That is one. The other is that, as reported, that the devices were prepared in Taiwan. There is one report.
There is one report that the devices were prepared in Taiwan, but the Taiwanese CEO from that company, which is being alleged that they were involved in this entire mess, he reported that we actually gave this to an offshoot organization which was responsible for the manufacturing of these devices. That is known as BAC or BAC.
Yeah, and BSc was located in Hungary,
Yes.
Budapest, and it was headed by some lady with a PhD, and probably people say that she has vanished. Actually, I don't know. She has been tracked, and she has a very small setup. And now it's being said that this BSc was a front of Israeli intelligence, most probably Mossad. Israel also has a unit which is being mentioned in media as Signal Unit 8200, which is specialist in carrying out signal intelligence and signal sabotage or cyber sabotage. So, even if that is the case, there is an order placed by Hezbollah. It's a civilian technology, and in case Israeli intelligence has done it, that they have packaged it through their front organization or intercepted the shipping, and they have interrupted the global supply chain, and then of course put some explosive with chips. So it also now means that there will be the global supply chain itself becomes a suspect, especially anything connected to Israel. And Israel has a lot of, I think,
Western
technology
yeah.
exchange with West as well as India.
Yes.
I think Indians should also be looking at it, and the countries who are basically, having hostile relations with India should also be worried. It could be Indians, also involved. And then comes, now it's being said that probably it can be done through normal mobile phones, like
Yes,
this laptop, your
Lithium
camera.
batteries can be overheated and it can be, cause a small bit of charge. Second question that arises from this: don't you think that Israelis have set a very bad precedence when it comes to this type of attack? Because now things are completely open. Anybody can use this, transit system. China, for example, has a lot of outsourced facilities. It has its own brands, as well as Americans are using Chinese for outsourced programs with Apple and other areas as well. Then there is Vietnam, then everyone else. So any country can basically come on board which has some kind of relationship with each other and use it for hostile activities, or plant explosives and devices, or try to even up the ante. In fact, yet you trust our technology more rather than theirs, since they got destroyed. So this is now open for business, I think.
Yeah, I think this is going to start affecting the global supply chain. I remember the book The World is Flat, and in which it starts with the author, I'm forgetting his name, but it started that how a laptop is. He said that I ordered a laptop. I don't know which company. And then he mentioned that such and such part was prepared or made in China. Such and such part was done in Taiwan. Maybe its motherboard was done in India, Bangalore. And then it was assembled in Dubai. And then it was shipped via so-and-so ship. And then it reached, California or whatever. So it means that even in manufacturing of one, like cameras, I'm sure still, the lens is coming from somewhere else and the battery is coming from somewhere else. So it means that global supply chain involves a lot of one is a lot of countries and then a lot of organizations and multinational companies. For instance, there are a lot of companies that are working in China. I'm sure there must be a lot of companies working with Israel, or their outsourced outlets. So it means that entire global supply chain becomes a suspect because you are not very sure that some hostile agency can intercept it, or maybe terrorists can do it, as you are
Yes, that's the
mentioning.
most,
Yeah. The terrorists could do it, and you can't blame. So it means that there are going to be lawsuit. For instance, I've heard that this company in Taiwan is probably going to go for international lawsuit against Israel because
yes,
it has affected the reputation of that company.
company, yeah.
Millions of dollars business has been disrupted. I don't think so anyone is going to buy pages from that company.
Yeah.
And then let's talk of Apple.
Hmm.
Let's talk of old Blueberry or other. I'm sure there are so many. We are talking of already, at artificial intelligence. We don't know what's lying because if it can be done with the hardware, then it can be done with the software because hardware is being now, I would say, used as weapons through software.
Yes.
So there are certain applications. So what happens to artificial intelligence itself? What happens to robotics and the collaboration? What happens to even space program? You can be hit,
It's like we are living in our own Terminator movie.
yeah. And look at what happens to Tesla technology. Elon Musk should be worried because you're talking of autonomous vehicles and then vehicles without pilots and all that because there's a demographic problem already. Services sector is heavily dependent on human resource, which is, I would say, scarce. Even China is suffering it. West has a serious demographic problem, and they're going into robotics and I would say automotive technology so that the human resource can be replaced by robots. And we have seen some of the robots. We've seen even some dog robots here fighting, and drones itself. So I think it's going to be one. There's going to be technology becomes suspect, and those countries who claim, like Netanyahu, claiming that we can bring down nations to their knees with the push of a button, their technology will become my thing. So they have signed a certificate. Don't buy anything made in Israel.
Yeah.
Don't buy anything, let's say,
And
which
then
is
this
made
is
in
also
USA.
cause a massive distrust amongst different companies as well, because now everybody is going to be looking for their own autonomous decisions, and prior to that, more scrutiny is going to be done. And frankly speaking, the domestic market is going to see an improvement, and people are going to rely on more, self growth and domestically create their own technology.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah,
As
it's
you
been
mentioned,
mentioned in these articles as
and
well.
mentioned also, this is I think good point that you have brought out that indigenization will become the order of the day. Although it's going to take a while, but if you're looking at security, cyber security or hardware security, or maybe those countries like China, Pakistan is very good relation, and by and large we use their hardware and softwares. Pakistani engineers do work there. We also have joint collaboration in weapon system. So maybe there
But
are
like I
certain
said,
blocks.
like I said, now since Israel has set this precedence, what's stopping India from using Chinese technology against us?
Yes, that's. I think that's a very very serious question.
Because Israel has used a manufacturer from Taiwan, not only damaging that company's reputation, but the country's reputation as well.
Yes, I think this is again a very serious question. So it means that there are going to be certifications, or as you mentioned, indigenization. But all like Africa, what do they do if they are not at that level? Well, I think less maybe South Africa or some of the African country like Kenya or Nigeria. Others may not be having access to that level of technology. Still, they are in this phase of development, and so it means that they are going to be either regional blocks who are going to then work at joint technology and sharing, and then there's going to be boycott of products from generally Western countries. Even I think the larger West, if you look at those countries which are part of European Union, North America, including Five Eyes.
We used to hear about small skits concerning arson. Companies used to damage each other through saboteurs and some small scale means, throwing up damages or completing their insurance or that kind of stuff. But this is the first time I've seen a whole state acting so irresponsible and creating a, I would say, global techno I would say disability. Yeah.
Sabotage, techno sabotage. So I think you can be smart at time, but you can the smartness can lead to dumbness also. So I think they've been very very dumb. Nobody calculated the impact, and now if the articles are coming in, I think most of the let's say I would say responsible media outlets and magazines in Turkey, in Russia, even I think in New York Times there was a hint regarding disruption of global supply chain and what could be the effects. And can the world at this time afford it? Now look at the antivirus vaccines.
Hmm.
Another area, biotechnology, antivirus vaccine. Can you trust anything made in Israel
No.
or in the West? So it means that probably vaccines, medicines. Then they have, I think, very good water purification technology,
Hmm.
because now you'll be suspecting that there could be some gadget involved. Basically, if you look at the gadgets here, I
Hmm.
think there are 5 6 gadgets. So you are if you are buying it from there, you are carrying your own death warrant.
Hmm.
Anybody can explode because you are being watched. Like in these pages, they were timed in a manner that when you were reading that message, it exploded. So most of people lost their eyesight. There were kids who were, I think, martyred. So I think it's becoming, it will basically, it requires a lot of soul searching. And I don't know whether the global system is going to come back to old normalcy. It's going to be a new normal now. And people
So,
have to.
what do you think the new normal is going to exactly look like? Are there going to be separate blocks of technology with technology sharing taking place between small Asian regional powers or between global powers, or there are going to be limited exports, or we are going to see the same situation that was either in the concert of Europe, World War One or World War Two?
I think something very similar to that, because even if you look at now the blocks, so you have a very clear north-south divide, and by and large, even if you look at President Putin's, what he's been saying, or Alexander Dugin's theory, that unfortunately, West, who got, especially after breakup of Soviet Union, they had an opportunity to be benign powers. Look at the amount of money they've spent on warfare. Iraq, I think, trillions of dollars. Afghanistan, North Middle East and North Africa, they basically physically disrupted. And generally, the developing world has lost trust. Maybe it's because of compulsion, international financial institutions, and diaspora working there. They would like to have some working relations. By and large, there was already, apprehension. Now, if this is happening, and then just imagine Netanyahu, his generals, Mossad chief, and their public and Indians making memes out of it, not realizing that what they have done. So if you are boasting that yes, you can do it, to then I would say
Then I
then
guess everybody can do it.
everybody can do it. And I think you are right that one, of course, there'll be emphasis on indigenization.
Mhm.
So you have to have your own indigenous platform, applications, hardware, and then there could be like-minded blocks. For instance, SEO could be one, and it produces their own hardware and then share the technology. So it means they'll be definitely watertight regional blocks. So multi-alignment will also suffer. Like
Yeah.
India is part of the Indo-Pacific, but when he comes and sits in SCO or BRICS forum, they'll be Indians will become suspect. G7, G20, there'll be a lot of debate on that, and there are countries who were working for technology, like Turkey. They were working, like Middle East wanted to get into
Then there was joint manufacturing as well of different parts being created in another country while another country was making another
Yeah,
part.
and it would, I think, also impact certain treaties and accords, like Abraham Accord. Now Israel had a desire, and we just seen, I think, one of the articles appeared in Jerusalem Post where they were giving incentive to Pakistan. They were, out of 4 or 5 technologies, 2 were like cyber technology, and then it was information technology. Is Pakistan that naive to ask Israel for that, because you can't sign your death warrant? So one is that will start impacting certain treaties, global supply chain, and still, I think this has not been discussed in Pakistan. I feel that this should be an open debate in the media. What are the implications, and how do we move forward from here? And how this I would say one push of button is going to dictate your international relations, regional relationship. And we were basically looking at the next generation, Generation Z, basically tech savvy and all that. So how much they'll have to be careful and what kind of. So the other thing I think is I just forgot cyber security, cyber warfare. So it means they got to have an army of cyber warriors, including technology like firewalls. And I'll come to the firewall. Remind you, because that becomes very, very important to parry such physical attacks also. Now you should have they were like social media warriors who could do it for, I would say, information warfare. But now we require cyber warriors who would check defensive and offensive. In case the enemy does it, then you have a counter offensive going on from your side, and team of people who are sitting. You got to make your defenses of your civil aviation, airlines hardened, banking system. Then of course is your shipping, your medical system, hospitality system. So there'll be, because it could directly impact, and then sensitive areas. What kind of drones are you using for your agriculture or for, let's say, certain surveys? Are they safe? Then comes the issue of firewall.
Mm-hmm.
So firewall, there was a lot of hue and cry in Pakistan. When you look at China, Russia, I think to some extent Iran, they have developed their system that nobody can really, maybe it can sneak but cannot intrude, in a mass scale. So and those states which are centrally controlled, I think will fare better in
Yes.
this warfare. They will be safe. So it means that firewalls will become compulsion. One, of course, is the firewall against information warfare. The other is, I would say the hardware warfare through cyber attacks. So you will require, it is an essential thing. So it means that you got to have expertise in that. So all told, I think we are into a very interesting but very dangerous zone.
So that's it for today, folks. Please do leave a like and subscribe our channel. Thank you so much for watching us. Bye bye.